Dobbo finishes 2-1 this afternoon. Firstly, just give a short assessment of the performance.
We gave ourselves a little bit too much to do, having conceded the early goals in the game. Something that we highlighted would be a strength of theirs, and so it was. And I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't react to that quicker. Cisse in particular coming through midfield. In terms of chances throughout the game, we've created plenty of chances again. Obviously, the missed penalty was a big turning point. But I think I've just heard they had 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals, and we've had 7 and scored 1, and that's really the story of the game.
Obviously, it doesn't help in the first couple of minutes when you have to take off your goalkeeper. Looked like a groin to me. Is that the case? Yeah. He's felt his groin as he's kicked it. So that's just the situation we're in at the moment. We're picking up these silly things that obviously aren't helping, and it's just another one today. We'll have a look at that one, obviously assess him, but in Jake Turner we've got a capable goalkeeper and someone who can step in. We just bumped into Carl Robinson, who said we deserve more than what we got. Early in the second half we threw everything at them, didn't we? Bradley's had a great shot, well saved. Andrew's off the line, just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. As I say, we created chances. We put the ball in good areas. Our front three, the way we set them up was designed to overpower them. So it looked a bit scrappy at times, but between the 3 of them, they made it work. And we got behind them. We got crosses in the box. We got people on the end of it. But as I say, I think it's a brilliant clearance for the one off the line. Keeper's made a couple of really good saves, and we've huffed and puffed and haven't been able to find that equaliser.
Yeah, there's no lack of effort, is there? You can see the effort on the pitch from absolutely every single person, but today, plus perhaps Cheltenham as well, it just, Lady Luck maybe hasn't smiled on us.
Yes, we need to be a little bit more clinical when we get the chances. I thought Seb had scored, and I think it was a good save actually. It was given as a goal kick. But we've got into good areas. It's not like we're hoping for a 25-yarder to end up in the top corner. We've got through, and we've seen the whites of the keeper's eyes, and we haven't put the ball in the back of the net. If Daki scores that one when we've got a little bit of momentum with the penalty, then it's probably a very different game. But you miss a penalty, and as so often happens, you miss a penalty, and then shortly later, they break away and score, and all of a sudden, what should be 1-1 turns into 2-0, and you've got a mountain to climb.
I appreciate your time. Thank you, Ben. All yours.
Can I just ask a bit more about your setup today? You obviously went quite aggressive with that 3 up front. What was the thinking?
We watched the game against Oldham, and Oldham had scored, had caused them problems with a physical front line. We just looked at it and went, actually, we can play Seb central and he can run down the sides from a central position. We can play diagonals into Vokesy, into Josh, and we can play into our big players and get them around each other. And I thought it caused them problems at times. I thought they combined quite well. I thought that at times a hopeful clearance suddenly turns into a chance for us because we've got physical players after it, and Seb's obviously a willing runner. So it's something that we wanted to try and be more aggressive at home. I quite like the look of a front 3 like that. It gives us different possibilities. A little bit of pace, a little bit of strength, a little bit of power. Just a shame we didn't get another goal to back up the chances that they created.
Did it leave you a little bit too open with their pace on the counter?
No, we left ourselves open because we didn't heed the warnings that we'd spoken about earlier. That's the disappointing thing for me, because we knew their strengths. We knew they would have midfielders that broke forward quickly, and we just were a little bit slow on 1 or 2 occasions to see them balls dropping in midfield and to pick up second balls, and they've got onto it and ended up, the ball ends up in the back of our net a couple of times. So that's the fine lines and fine margins of this division. You can create more chances in your opponents, but it only takes a couple of moments like that for someone like Dan Udu, and he puts the ball in the back of the net.
And obviously, Bradley, that missing a penalty, something like that, you can't legislate for, and on another day it could have been any scoreline, really.
No, Daki's normally so good in them situations. He practices all the time, and you see him in training and you think he's never going to miss. So unusual. I don't know if it was a really good save or I'll have to have a look at it again. But he seemed to hit it in the corner. But we rely on Daki. He's good in them situations. He's an excellent technician, and today it just happens not to be our day.
Yeah, 15 shots again. I think you've had over the last 3 games, 30, 19, 15. So you're creating the chances at home, but just one goal that's gone in. It's just something about October. Gills fans will tell you the last couple of seasons, October's not been nice to Gilles.
No, it's a strange one, isn't it? And it's different personnel, it's different management staff, and the sort of same thing has reoccurred, and I'm not sure there's a rhyme or reason behind that. I certainly wouldn't say over the last month we've deserved to lose games. I wouldn't say that we've come out of today deserving to lose today's game. We haven't been outplayed by opponents. You don't walk off the pitch and go, we were beaten by the better side today. But for whatever reason, it's just not, Lady Luck hasn't shone on us. We've had difficult circumstances. Obviously, the injury today and then takes away, with the goalkeeper takes away another substitution possibility later in the game. And so then you're working on 2 substitutions later. And so you're having to think about who stays on, who comes off. Ideally, you don't really want to take the front 3 off as the game's going on. But we've got to be careful with those guys. We don't want to lose them long term. So, yeah, it's not ideal circumstances, but these things are sent to test us.
You said about the players maybe just trying too hard to kind of get back to winning ways. Are yourself and Gareth doing that, changing it up tactically?
No, I don't think so. I think we've been quite adaptable tactically from the start, and at this moment in time with a lack of wingers, we might have to do something a little bit different. In an ideal world, we'd like everyone available, and we could probably play with wingers in the side, but Rory's obviously coming back into the fold today and was never going to start the game. So, we just thought that it was the right combination to go with. And I think ultimately, when you look back at the game and you take the emotion out of it, we've probably done enough with our front players to warrant that being the right inclusion. Whether or not it's the right one for next week's game, we'll have a look again.
Armani Little, was he not fit enough to start then?
No, he's just got to be patient. Sometimes when you look at the boys ahead of him, and particularly after last week, having given so much into the game last week at Grimsby, it's incredibly harsh to then drop somebody and say, Armani's coming into the team. Armani's a good player. He's going to be an important player for us, but it's a long season, and the others have given enough that they didn't deserve to come out at this moment in time. Whether or not that's the case next week, we'll have a look at it, we'll assess, and we'll make a decision during the week.
Just finally from me, obviously we mentioned Glenn Morris going off injured. He's been such a reliable number 1 for so long. Will be a big blow for you guys. Jake Turner coming in, presumably you got faith in him?
Yeah, it's his opportunity. He was somebody that at the start of the season, there was a possibility for him if he wanted to go out on loan. He didn't want to. He wanted to stick around and prove himself, and that's great from our point of view. So we know we've got a competent number 2 with us. He's been excellent in training, and I have no problems in throwing him into these games now. I don't know how long Glenn will be out, but I'm pretty sure it will be a couple of weeks at minimum. So this is Jake's opportunity.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you.
Was there any suggestion that Glenn was struggling with an injury before the game, or was it just literally there and there?
No, there was a little bit in the warm-up. He said he felt something. He was tested before the game, and the test comes through fine. So, as far as we were concerned, he was going to be okay. And then obviously the first kick, and he's opened it up, and that's where he's felt it. So, disappointing for him. There was no signal from medical team that was going to be the case. The test was showing that he was strong. So a bit of a freak one, really.
I mean, everything was going against you in those few minutes, wasn't it? I mean, you lost your goalie, you're 1-0 down after 7 minutes. I mean, tough, isn't it, on that sideline trying to deal with all that? Yeah.
We have tough moments in the game. It happens. We're going through a tough period at this moment in time. But you just got to work through it. There's no other opportunity. We can sit here and say how hard done by we feel, or that luck's against us or whatever, but that's not going to turn unless we make it turn. So my message before the game to the players today was that it's on us. Don't expect the luck to turn because we want it to. We've got to make it. It'll be on us to get a result out of this game, and we can't rely on anything else other than our performances and our abilities. Again, I can't fault their efforts. I think they give everything for the shirt every week. These boys, they're desperate to win games. They're desperate to turn this little period around. And as I said earlier, I don't want it to hang heavy on their shoulders, and for them to get stuck in a rut. And here we go again. We've got enough quality in that dressing room to win games of football, and we probably just need to score first in a game and I think that's been our biggest problem recently. We've handed impetus to the opposition by allowing them to score first, and then the game becomes a little bit easier from their perspective in terms of the way that they can play it from there on. We need to take that first chance. We need to get ahead of in the game, because we know we're a difficult side to play against when we're ahead.
There was a lot of fans staying back towards the end, appreciating the players' efforts. You need those fans on board, don't you? They seem like this kind of...
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good that they understand that the effort's there, and they appreciate the effort of the players. I don't think anyone can leave this ground today and say that the players haven't given 100% and tried their very best in the game. Football is, as I spoke about in the press earlier in the week, football's a game of so many variables that it's very, very hard to control all of them. And that's what makes it such a great sport. That's why we turn up every week to watch it. The unpredictability, and we come in hope every weekend, and you hope that some of them variables fall in your favour. Today it was in their favour. The strengths in their team unfortunately undid us early on, and that's probably the one thing I'm really disappointed about. Something that we had been very aware of and had spoken about. But it's one thing talking about it, it's another thing stopping it. And sometimes when you just got a physical ability like Cisse in the middle of the park, and he can pick it up and glide past you, there are odd moments in the game that just make a difference, and he made a bit of a difference in them 2 moments.
You talked about the wingers that are missing at the minute. Are any of them like to come back soon? I mean, Gareth Clear, is he close?
Getting closer, but I would say still going to be a week or 2 away. We can't risk that one. It's not something we want to push, particularly with Gareth and his age. We don't want to lose him for the season. He's going to be important to us, so we've just got to go with it at the moment. And when he's back and he's ready, we'll obviously get him back in the fold. But in the meantime, we've got enough good players in this squad to fill them gaps.
The good thing is, after your fantastic first 2 months of the season, you're still very well placed in the league, only 4 points off the top. Yeah. Look, we never got too excited about that run, because you always know what could come off the back of it. It's a 1 in 130 odd year occasion to have that spell of games unbeaten. So it's not something that happens every week, and what we've got to do now is try and build 2, 3, 4 game undefeated runs, and start picking up points that way. We've fallen on the wrong end of some results recently, and a little bit unfortunate in terms of when you look at the stats and you take the emotion out of it, you go, we've probably deserved a little bit more out of it, as we will do today. But we've got to pick the bones out of it and have a look at where we're going wrong, because no one wants to be on the end of a defeat, and we're on the end of a defeat again today. Can I ask you about next weekend? You get an FA Cup. You welcome a break from the league, or would you do?
Just another game. We'll approach it in exactly the same way. We obviously love the cup competitions, and FA Cup is always good to get a run in. So we'll be approaching it in exactly the same way as we have done with the other games. We'll have a good look at them over the course of this week. I think they've had a good win today, Newport. So again, we know from the time when we played there earlier in the season, we got a 3-1 win, but we were under the cosh and could have easily gone a couple of goals behind early on. So we know they're a good side. It might be quite relaxing for them to go and play a cup game, away from the pressure of the league. But as far as I'm concerned, we'll do it in the same professional manner that we always do.